Hello and welcome. Today we're going to do a DIY, and this DIY is all about tracing. Now, this is kind of part two of a DIY from last time. And last time we made some animals, and they were animals from stories that you might find in picture books. And we're going to take the same kind of idea of making a small picture, and we're going to make the small pictures. We're going to learn about the words, and we're going to trace them carefully with black marker. Here's one of the animals in another one from last time. These are ones that I've colored in and traced. So this is an example of the kind of artwork that we want to make uh, after we draw with pencil. So we're going to start with pencil today. Then we're going to trace the outline in black marker. Then we can have these fun kinds of little pictures after we've traced the lines very carefully. And we can use them to tell stories, and we can use them to play and make our own stories up with some of the books in our house. So, the first thing we're going to do is find some storybooks like this. Okay, you can see now this picture looks nice because it's in front of a colorful picture and it has a strong outline and nice colors. Okay, so we're going to make little pictures like this, but not animals today. Animals we made last time. Today, we're going to make some things that you see in your house. Now, these things are all different kinds of containers. They're all different jars and boxes and bottles, things like that. So I'm going to draw mine from a book because it's right here. And you can see I've got all of these words like bottles, and jars, and cans, cartons, containers, boxes. All right, now if you have some of these things in your house, you can look at them and draw them. For me, I'm going to draw them out of this book. Now, as we get started, we'll need to make sure that we can draw the things carefully on the page. And because there's so many, we're going to fold it in half. Fold it in half again. And then one more time. This way we will have 8 rectangles. Now, we don't need to make 8 actual pictures, but we can do at least 5, maybe 6, and if we have lots of time, we can make 8. Here it is again. We fold it in half, half again, and one more time in half. All right? So now we've got our 8 small rectangles. We're going to start by drawing one of the things we can see in our house. And these are all containers of food. Now, I've drawn a whole bunch here. I've got 6, okay? And this one is cereal. This one is milk. And you can see I've drawn in the box of cereal because there's lots of boxes. But sometimes a box of cereal is easy to see. Milk, I didn't draw anything because a carton of milk really looks like a carton of milk, though you can sometimes see tea or you can sometimes see juice. So maybe I'll draw a little cow. And that way it will look a little more like milk. A carton of milk. There we go. This is a carton of eggs, and it doesn't look like a carton of milk, but it's the same word. I don't know why. But we use the same word, a carton, for a box that is for milk and a box that is for eggs. A can of tuna, you can have lots of things in cans like beans, but I usually have a can of tuna. That's what I think of when I think of a can. I'll add a little more detail. This is a jar of jam, and a jar is usually glass. I've put a strawberry on there to be like jam. And you can have lots of other things in jars as well. Sometimes onions or pickles, maybe chocolate spread. Okay, but this is a jar of jam, so that's why I put a strawberry on it. Here's a bottle of cola. And I guess I can write the word cola on here. You can have a bottle of almost anything. There we go, cola. And now really the next step is to do the tracing. So we're going to get the black marker and we're going to follow the lines carefully and trace them so that they have nice, strong black lines. And this really does make the pictures stand out and look much, much better. So I'll do the first one slowly, and then I'll get all of the rest of them done quickly so that you can see them when they're all finished. So here we go. Let's have a look at the bottle of cola. It's important to be able to see. Don't hold your hand in your own way. You have to be able to see where the marker is touching the line. And you want to be able to move your hand freely. You don't want to stop. And if you do stop, you need to lift up the marker. Otherwise, you might have a spot or a big dot. So I'm going to clean up this space a little so I can move my hand nice and freely. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to move slowly and carefully, following the pencil line. There I actually made a bit of a mistake. I should have lifted up the marker, but it's okay. Just draw over it and keep going. When you're tracing, you want to keep moving. You don't want to stop. And if you do stop, then lift up the marker or else you get a big black circle. And you can see I'm moving the paper around. It doesn't matter if it's upside down or right side up. The most important thing is that I can keep moving the marker. I go back and I trace my lines inside. And I can add some details too. I'll trace the word cola. And that one's done. The next step is to erase the pencil. Now I've actually made a bit of a mistake here. I should be more careful with my erasing. I should only erase in a straight line away from my fingers, so it does not crumple the page like this. This is the better way to erase. All right, and when you've cleaned up those pencil lines, you will have nice, strong, traced black lines. I'll go and do the rest, and then come back to show you. Here we are. I finished my tracing, and these all look a lot better now. I still need to go back and do some erasing, but they're all looking pretty good. You can see there's some pencil there. It needs to be cleaned up. Now here you see I'm going to be careful and make sure that I'm pulling the eraser away from my fingers, not moving back and forth. All right, now here, the can of tuna, we will erase as well, pulling away from my fingers. Here's the carton of eggs. I actually really like the carton of eggs. I think it turned out pretty well. Sometimes when you add the black lines, you get a much, much better picture than you had with the pencil. Here's my egg, or not my egg carton, my milk carton. And it's got a lot of pencil lines in the small picture area, just like my box of cereal. When you have a lot of lines, there's going to be a lot of pencil to erase. So take your time and try to make it as clean as you can. There we go. It's looking pretty good now. The only thing really left to do is add some color, but the line tracing here is pretty good. When you add color, they'll start to look like these, and then you can have lots of little animals and things to make your own stories with at home. And tracing lines is probably the most important thing to really making your pictures look strong and clear. So, until next time, keep having fun tracing, drawing, and making art.